Why is Francis so desperate for illegal immigrants to be allowed to live in the USA? Hey, my friends, in the breaking news video from today, I promised you I would give you a bit of an unpacking of the church's true teaching on immigration. So I want to do that here. Francis has taken aim at Vice President J.D. Vance's comments about what he called the ordo amoris, or the order of love. That's the fact of common sense, that we have duties of justice first to those closest to us, and we have to fulfill those before we can start bestowing alms and charity on those further away from us. So it's very much like when you're on a plane and the oxygen mask comes down, they always tell you first put on your own mask and then your child's, because that's the order you have to do it in. So here's what Francis said, though. He said, Christian love is not a concentric expansion of the interests that little by little extend to other persons and groups. But that's actually the opposite of the church's teaching. I guess that this would be news to St. Paul, for instance, who said, and I quote, "If any man have not care of his own, and especially of those of his house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." Go look it up. That's St. Paul in the Holy Bible. That's from his first letter to St. Timothy. And the great doctors of the church, like St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Augustine, they've all interpreted it in the same way as J.D. Vance did. And as I said above, it would also be news to St. John, the apostle of love, who said, and I quote, "If any man say, I love God, and hates his brother, he's a liar. For he that doesn't love his brother, whom he sees, how can he love God, whom he doesn't see?" How can we say we love our brothers, our countrymen, who we see around us every day, if we deprive them of what we owe them and give it instead to those who we don't see on the other side of the world? Francis talks about how true ordo amoris, or the true order of love, must be understood in the light of the parable of the Good Samaritan. And he's right, but he's applying it in a completely perverse way. The Good Samaritan saw the man on the way to Jericho and helped him in spite of their national rivalries. He didn't start telling the Jews they need to import hundreds of thousands of Samaritans or more into Jerusalem. Christ's parable didn't say that the Samaritan deprived his own children of what he owed them in order to help this man. So it just goes on. Francis cites a document from Pius XII, but this document actually explicitly says that while we have duties to help migrants and especially genuine refugees, this is only provided that, quote, that the public wealth considered very carefully does not forbid this. And so Francis just conveniently leaves things out and quotes selectively from documents. As Francis himself is well aware, many Americans are living in poverty. Even Americans who are not in obvious abject poverty are still deprived of what Catholic social teaching says are their rights. The right to a salary sufficient to support a family, the right to own property, to live decently rather than in squalor, to eat proper food rather than unhealthy fake food, and so on. Francis justifies his attack on U.S. immigration policy by saying everyone has an infinite dignity. But even if every individual has an infinite dignity, no nation has infinite resources or infinite space. What is bestowed on migrants is not bestowed on the people of the nation. There's no ambiguity or nuance here. Francis is condemning Trump and Vance for trying to balance the books and fix social problems like these in their own nation. He is saying that they shouldn't do this and instead should give what they owe to the people of the United States to people from other nations. But we've got to ask, why? Why is Francis doing this? Why is Francis so desperate for illegal immigrants to be allowed to live in the USA? One answer is that he is massively virtue signaling. But you know what? That's not the whole story. There is a deeper answer, and it's been staring us in the face for years. Francis is a globalist. For over 100 years, Catholic writers have been telling us that the collapse of the ordo amoris, the order of love, and the homogenization of humanity are key goals of globalism, or internationalism, as they might have called it back then. And one writer even called all this the unholy doctrine. Unchecked immigration is one of the most cherished ideals of globalist ideology. It allows the market to be flooded with cheap labor, driving down wages to even more unjust levels and destroying the individual characters of the nations. Francis doesn't hide his embrace of this. He dismisses these points of natural law and Catholic social teaching as, quote, worrying about persona, community, or national identity, end quote, which of course he condemns. But denying Catholic social teaching and working to blend the people of the world in a great big mix turns everyone into atomized economic units. And the purpose of that is so that we can all be better exploited by big business and more controlled by a satanic deep state which hates God and his Savior, Jesus Christ. That's the agenda Francis is serving when he's serving the globalists. For LifeSite News, this is John Henry Reston. May God bless you.
Aloha everyone, this is Jason Jones for LifeSite News. We hope you enjoyed this video. For more content like this, check the link in the description. You can also connect with us on social media to stay up to date with the latest news on life, faith, family, and freedom. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you.